Chilling, man. That does look like it's a pretty good gym. Well, day after day, I'm more confused. Yet I look for the light in the pouring rain. I'm willing to take a little abuse. But I got to say, please give me the strength. Oh, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in the rock and roll and drift away. If you want a country girl, you just found one in a Chevrolet. In a Chevrolet, yeah. I don't know. This is like that's obnoxious. Hang on. The head was already big enough. But I don't know what the sound. It just happens, man. Like they just. I have the live. This probably this phone. The live stream goes for too long, and then they'll come and they'll shut it down on me. Turn the sound off. Do something or another. In a Chevrolet, yeah. But yeah, sound should be working now at least. That's this phone, man. I gotta upgrade it. I'm trying to decide, man, because I can get a new phone. I can either pay $20 a month, get a new phone for like $20 a month for 36 months, or I could just buy it outright, and it'd be like $40 cheaper. You know what I mean? But it's such a small amount. Like it doesn't even fucking really matter. It'd be easier just to pay the $20 a month. How you doing, man? Just hanging out, bored. Sunday night, ain't got nothing else to do. Trying to hang out, trying to get to 500 subscribers and keep the live stream going until I make it to 500 subscribers. I'm currently living in my 2007 Toyota Corolla. I've been living in the car since September. Trying to get the channel going, turn it into something if I can. Feel like I've got a pretty good story. People are willing to hang out, talk this, that, the other. But yeah, most people are just like, fuck, whatever. It's cool. It's tough, can't just, not a lot of people like hitting that button that's for free, you know what I mean? It's too hard and too complicated. But yeah, man, pretty much just trying to get to 500 subscribers as quick as I can. So I'm trying to get to 1,000, but baby steps along the way. You know what I mean? Been living in the car since September, trying to do my thing, get out of the situation. I've been homeless about 3 or 4 times throughout my life, and I don't know, for one reason or another. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to make this be the last time. Trying to build something small for myself, and something that I can afford really easily. You know what I mean? Put some work into it now, and just relax after that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to buy into no $300,000-$400,000 property that I end up paying for 20 plus years. If I could, if I could just buy a property that I saved for 1 year, and then just buy a property, you know what I mean? And then I'd save in 29 more years of my life that I could put towards anything else. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like it would be a pretty decent story in the meantime. Like I said, I decided to start filming basically in September when I ended up homeless this time. I was like, you know what? I should really be filming this, because really, if I had been filming for like the last 10 years, you know what I mean? I've had some pretty interesting stuff happen to me to even to get me to this point where I'm homeless today. You know what I mean? And I don't think that wouldn't have happened that way had I been actually, you know what I mean, trying to build, some kind of community for myself online. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I tried doing Twitch or whatever, trying to, fuck around playing video games, see how you see all these other people playing video games and making money somehow. And I'm not the best gamer, you know what I mean? I just try to be like an average person kind of gamer, But I don't know. Could never get nothing out of that. But I don't know. At least some people like showing up and talking to me here, in the live streams. So, I feel like the more often I go live, the more often, not that I'm trying to go live too much where it draws out my, my audience just gets drowned out, you know what I mean? But get enough of a viewer base where y'all have your own party pretty much going on in the chat. Y'all could be talking about whatever, there's enough people hanging out and talking that the chat's got its own conversation going on. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to get to that point, basically. I don't know. I know I don't have too much going on day to day, but trying to make videos. I try to post, 2 or 3 videos a week, just for long format type of thing. And then I got 3 pre-planned live shows that I do, at least at this point. I do, Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday. I do like a pre-planned live show, or it's a pre-scheduled thing, you know what I mean? Saturdays I might be drinking. I might just do that and be like a Saturday thing. I'm just always drinking on Saturday, you know what I mean? Just to get more of an interesting show, funnier show. I might say crazier stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah. And then I still go live kind of like in between all that too, just for whatever. But yeah, made about 5 subscribers today going live. So I mean, baby steps. It's a small channel. I'm trying to get a new phone, because I know that's going to help the whole situation as far as the live. I'll have better picture, better RAM, better service, hopefully. Just all around be a better ship, maybe. I don't know. But no, that's too much, you know what I mean? Like, the head's already big enough. But yeah. I don't know. Kind of taking a lazy day and just kind of relaxing. It's Easter Sunday. There's not a lot going on as it is. Well, I mean, for weed, yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, weed doesn't really get me high. Like, I don't, like back in high school, it would, like, you'd get high and then you'd be afraid to talk to your friend's parents, or something, you know what I mean? But now it just kind of relieves like there's like an anxiety, you know what I mean? And then I smoke a little bit of weed and it lets me release basically a little bit. And then I smoke the cigars, because the cigar helps my weed go a little bit further. Got something to do with my hands. They're 10 cents a piece, and then I think at the same time they're starting to take them off the shelves and stuff too. So I'll eventually have to quit anyway, because they're getting harder and harder to find them. But yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know what's up. It just does that every now and then. Like, it'll force close the live on me. Like my phone. I don't know. And then I go to open it back up, and then the sound doesn't work, or the chat's not working, so I can't. People are talking, but I can't see nothing that's going on. But yeah, trying to think where I'm probably gonna go up and because I need to get some more to drink. At some point, I'm probably gonna go up. I mean, that's later. You know what I mean? I'm thinking of like where I'm gonna go crash for the night. I like the boat ramp. I really do like the boat ramp because it's gonna be pretty peaceful, except like because tomorrow's gonna be Monday. There's not gonna be a bunch of people showing up to drop their boat in the water on a Monday, and then it's like 10 degrees cooler being by being by the riverside. It's like 10 degrees cooler. It's easier to sleep. But then this other place that I go, like they got the drinks, like the best drinks are at that drink fountain. That soda fountain has the best. You know what I mean? So you got to give and take. You know what I mean? At some point, I'm gonna be going up that way to get a drink anyway. You know what I mean? So it'll save me mileage to just go up that way, but I'll get a better night's sleep if I go down to the boat ramp. You know what I mean? Not that I'm gonna sleep really bad the other place that I'm going. You know what I mean? It'll just be a little bit hotter. But hell, I mean, I was able to take a nap from like 2 to 4 today, in the middle of the afternoon, like the hottest part of the day. I was able to just roll over and get a nap. Woke up in a pool of sweat. You know what I mean? But still was able to pass out for a little bit. Yeah, and then I'm noticing, man, at this gym here, there's a couple of the bicycles or whatever, the stationary bikes. They've got a TV mounted on, like there's a TV on the stationary bike even. Like, man, that gym way better than the one I go to. I don't know, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. Like I said, I don't know. It feels like I can't get new subscribers unless I go live. Like I get it. My videos aren't the fucking best. You know what I mean? They're really kind of cheesy. I probably get more of a fan base from people that like the cheesiness of the videos. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like I can't get subscribed. It doesn't matter what I post as a video. I have to go live to get the new subscribers. But I don't know. I figure I just accept it. I don't mind going live either. You know what I mean? It's something to do. But at the same time, the people you show up for the live, and then you don't really need to watch the video because you already know what's going on because you show up for the live. So it's, I don't know, it's a catch-22 thing. But the lives are better in some extent too. You know what I mean? They're more personable. Live, you know what I mean? The lives get more intimate, one-on-one. Yeah. What time we got? Not even 9 o'clock. 8:30. But noob, it's noob. It's you still hanging out with me. So I was gonna ask, man, because like I seen on your channel that you were like an army ranger or something. I don't know. It said something about you were either going to ranger camp or you're coming back from ranger camp. I don't know. But I was gonna ask you about that. Oh, okay. I don't know. I must have got mixed up or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I was gonna ask like, yeah, what was ranger school like? You know what I mean? I don't know. Just to hear a little bit about it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, man. I got really bad memory, especially like where I'm at, like right now. You know what I mean? I got like 1,001 problems. Not that I have 1,001 problems. You know what I mean? It's more or less just like one big problem. But you know what I mean? Got enough of my own shit to worry about. I can't remember facts on everybody. You know what I mean? Sorry. But at least at this point, I know all my subscribers pretty much. If somebody comes in the chat, and it's their first time chatting, I'll be like, oh, I ain't seen your name before. You know, who are you? How long you been watching? You know, which which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? If I get to the point where I have like 100K subscribers, I'm not gonna know all of my subscribers. You know what I mean? Just not possible. But yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, try to hit 500 subscribers, man. If it's your first time hanging out with me, fucking probably not. You're probably recurring, but whatever, man. Trying to get 500 subscribers. They'll open up the monetization a little bit at that point, where I can, people can at least do super chats and sign up for memberships, and you know what I mean. I'll be that much closer to 1,000, where I can finally maybe get some kind of ad revenue. Not trying to really be like a complete sellout, but like that's the reason I'm making the videos in the first place, is to try to make some money out of this. You know what I mean? Feel like, getting to the point where I'm like stacking sats off of YouTube. You know what I mean? Using the YouTube to make some Doge. Whatever. I don't know. Even at making enough from YouTube to be able to buy YouTube Premium or something. Not that I don't think if I was only making like 15 a month from YouTube, I wouldn't spend it right back on on fucking YouTube Premium though. That'd be dumb. But yeah, I'd have to think of some stuff to do that I could do just for the members too. Like obviously I could do like a members only live stream, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you're not gonna make new subscribers doing a members only live, you know what I mean? And even yeah, if I were to do a members only live stream and like nobody's showing up as it is, like, I don't know. A couple other members only things. But yeah. Really want like get that second phone going. And when I get that second phone going, I'd be able to, I can at least I'm thinking like getting a tablet, having the tablet all set up. I could be watching something on the tablet. I could be like reacting to, like some of the other fucking YouTubers. They'll just be watching some other YouTube and then just reacting to another YouTube video. But at least it would be more, there'd be more going on than what's currently going on. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking too. You know what I mean? There's a lot of work for free in the meantime. You know what I mean? That's why if I can at least get to 500, and maybe, for like 5 people that want to be a member for $1 a month, and I'm making like $5, getting something out of it, $5 a month to keep making videos. Okay, let's do it. Whatever happens from there. You know what I mean? But hell, even $5 a month, fuck, eventually that would pay for the phone. It would take a couple of months, a couple of years, but you know what I mean. The phone, and if I'm getting to that point, I could probably even write the phone off on my taxes as an expense for the YouTube. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've seen other people do it. They go buy a $2,000 drone that they use for like 10-second shots in their video, and then they just wanted a drone to play with too. So then they get to write it off on their taxes because they're a YouTuber. You know, it's stupid, man. But like, I'll have to remind other YouTubers about shit like that. I'm like, like one guy, like, he didn't even know. He's like, I gotta claim this on my taxes. I'm like, you do now? I'm like, that one dude just donated you like $500. If you make more than $600 doing something, you have to claim it on your taxes. And then like that one guy that just donated you 500, he basically sets you up to have to go claim this on your taxes now. You know, I was like, you're gonna have to go pay Uncle Sam. But, it was a good thing I told him though, because I don't think he was even thinking along those lines, at least not at that time. But you know what I mean. It's like, that guy just sent you 500. You know, it's crazy to see some stuff like that too. You know what I mean? Which it might, I'm not really praying for it, because it's not really something you should pray for. But you know what I mean? It might eventually be some dude that's got 14 properties that pops into my live stream and here's what I'm talking about, and yeah, it's like, oh, you can I'll let you camp over here. Like, I need someone to watch the property for me anyway, like fuck yeah, let's do it. Something like that, like, wouldn't you, if you got homeless people that are living on your property, or you can you have a homeless dude that actually like works a job and he cleans up after himself. He doesn't leave, he don't leave a mess behind. You know what I mean? You have him come and live on the property to kind of keep the other homeless from living on the property. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's stupid. Like, get a job as a scarecrow. It's just like, yeah. Got some good lighting out here. Some good natural free lighting. It's a good spot. But yeah, I'm glad I went to the gym and got a shower, man, because I'd be sitting here like just feeling all disgusting and shit. You know what I mean? Be heading that way to go get a shower now. But yeah, I'm just waiting for it to get a little bit later so I can go find a place to go camp for the night. Tomorrow's Monday. I don't work until Saturday, and you know what I mean. So I'll have to go out and make like $30 or $40 tomorrow, just kind of out of boredom even. Got plenty of gas though. It's showing me over half a tank. Even for me to get where I'm thinking about going to go to sleep, it's only going to be about an 8-mile drive out there. So I'll still have about a half a tank to work with tomorrow, make some money off of. It is getting a little bit tougher with the gas prices going up, but it does seem like they're, on Uber at least, they're incentivizing a little bit. Like the numbers I've noticed have been higher. You know what I mean? I'm getting a lot of more $14, there's less 6s and 7s. But there's, you know what I mean? There's more 12s and 14s and 15s now. Like Uber is actually like reimbursing the drivers, or at least me, a little bit more. I'm seeing there was one that came through earlier. It was for 11, and I didn't take it because I was like, I don't really want to go that way, fight the traffic light and all that shit. And then it pinged through with the same order again, and it gave it to me for 15, and I was like, they're gonna give me another $4. Okay, fine, whatever, But still, yeah, it was 15 instead of 11, and then really that 15, that was pretty good. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go that far to make that 15. You know what I mean? It was an easy run. But yeah. And a couple of places, a couple of customers, Uber is so slow. There's only a few people, like you're constantly delivering to the same addresses because there's only a few select people that even use the Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Because even when I when I got to that when I got to that drop off location today, I'd already been there like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know it till I got there, but you know what I mean. When I got there, I'm like, oh yeah, I know this front porch. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a lot of that, a lot of repeat customers, which is good. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't like the Dash Pass part of DoorDash either, because the people that I think it's like $20 a month, you get unlimited DoorDash for the $20 a month price, but that doesn't include the tip too. Like you still have to tip. Like I've asked people, I don't know, I asked people about it that were doing it. Like, well, how much do you tip? Since you have the Dash Pass, what do you normally tip? And they're like, oh, I just tip what I would normally tip. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Looking to see if it looks like I got like a sunburn or something, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, just hanging out, man. You can write off your car. I don't know about that, man. I could probably. I mean, if like say if I needed to upgrade the car, you know what I mean. I spent like $3,000-4,000 to buy another car to keep working. You know what I mean? I could claim the $4,000 car on my taxes. But where I'm at, it's better. It's better to do the mileage. They have an option where it's like 70 cents per mile, and where I'm at, the mileage is so fucked up that you by the time you claim your mileage, they end up owing you money instead of you owing them money. You know what I mean? Which that's kind of cool. Yeah, like you end up getting so much of a deduction from the mileage that they end up owing you rather because when you're the way that Uber works and shit, you end up having to pay you pay in when you go to pay your taxes because you weren't being taxed the whole time. You know what I mean? But like if your mileage is so absurd as it is, you deduct so much of that anyway. And I'm hoping it'll end up that way where I won't even have to really worry about it. I don't know. And this past year, they told me I didn't even have to file my Uber because I didn't even make $14,000 from doing it. So I'm trying to. If I get to that point, I'm just gonna stop for the year. You know what I mean? Try not to break over that $14,000 limit. But I don't know. That's what I heard, at least. I don't know. I feel like any amount that you make, you're supposed to claim. But who knows? But I don't know. I really don't even like doing the whole taxes bullshit anyway. It's all stupid. Hey. There's some lady and like she's parked in a car on the other side of this row, like this row of parking, whatever. She's parked on the other side, and she just pulled out her phone and took a picture of me. So, I don't know, just kind of waved at her, and then she like gave me this disgusted look and then looked away. Like, okay. But anyway, another half hour live. But yeah, probably got at least one more subscriber out of this. It feels like at least because I got an extra like. I don't know where that came from. Yep. But yeah, I'm just chilling out, man. Sorry, I don't know. Wish I had more to talk about, but hadn't really been at work to do, to have too much to bitch about. I don't know. This last Saturday, well, last night when I went in, it wasn't too bad. Like I looked at the back stock, it looked like nobody been doing the back stock, or at least two nights before I got there, nobody been doing the back stock. There was a big list of back stock shit to do. But other than that, it didn't look too bad. The bathroom looked like it had been cleaned, which a lot of times, it looks like I'm the only one that does the floor and I'm the only one that cleans the bathroom. So at least the bathroom and the floor gets cleaned once a week. You know what I mean? But like I walked in there, it looked like the bathrooms had been touched. You know what I mean? The only thing I saw was looked like the back stock. It didn't look like anybody had done it the night before. Like they just kind of pushed it off on me to do the next day. But yeah, there could have just been a lot of back stock to do. But I appreciate y'all hanging out, man. Yeah, man, I don't know if you got any questions or whatever. I don't know, I probably answered all your questions by now or whatever. You know what I mean? I get it. Trying to find somebody that'd be willing to like road dog it with me. Have somebody else in the live stream with me. I don't know. Some dude, just another dude hanging out. Then it's just two dudes hanging out. You can look at the live stream. Two dudes hanging out doing their thing. I don't know. But I don't know, man. I felt like I was about halfway there, and then, like I said, I ran into that buddy. A buddy of mine told me, it's like, oh yeah, he's like if you're looking at a quarter acre back here, you could probably get like a whole acre. Just buy a whole acre out here for about double the price, and then double the price for 4 times as much land. Sounds like a deal, I need to jump on it, I don't know. They were honking their horn, so I honked mine back. It was weird. It was like two or three cars of Spanish people, and then they all got out of their car, they hugged each other, and then they all kind of like did a Chinese fire drill and then got back into different cars. Like, I don't know. It's kind of funny. Shit like that you only see in Florida. Yep. Running low on these cigarettes too. Like I said, they're getting harder and harder to find. I'll have to quit. I'll have to quit before too long. What? What are you doing, Jerry? These cigarettes. I was talking about these cigarettes. I'm gonna have to quit before too long. They're getting harder and harder to find them. I go this one Family Dollar I got is down south from here. I don't know if they just stopped restocking them or what. They don't have them. And then this other Family Dollar I go to, it looks like the same thing. They took them all the way off the shelf. They had a carton that the dude pulled them out of, but normally they have like a sleeve on the shelf, like a rack that they go onto. But I don't know, for one reason or another, they got rid of their shelf space. So I feel like they're definitely gonna get rid of them sooner or later once they sell out what they have. And I've tried the other flavors. You know what I mean? There's no other flavor that's quite as good as these cherry ones. Nah, I know beer. I'm only doing the drink. I'm only drinking on Saturday. If I even plan, if I'm drinking, because I don't drink. You know what I mean? I'm only drinking for the Saturday show. So if people that show up on the Saturday show, that's when they get to see the drunk me. You know what I mean? But no, I'm not trying to make it be like an every night thing where I'm drinking. I really don't even, I don't even like drinking to the point where I'm like, like, oh, let's make it, every Saturday. I'm gonna be, that I don't know. My body just doesn't like it. No, I don't know. It's like, is there like a Swisher Sweet that they make like a pack of cigars? I hadn't seen those yet. I don't know. They might be too expensive for me. I know they got like I think they got like Black and Mild filtered cigars, like their Black and Mild brand, but those might be like $9 a pack or some shit. I don't know. It'd be easier just to quit. But I mean, I don't know. They're really good entertainment. Like like to argue on the other side. Like they help me be incognito. Even me right now where I'm at. Like some people have been worried. They've been driving by and giving me like side eye and shit. Like they're worried. Like I don't know. I'm sitting here in a grocery store parking lot in front of a 24-hour gym. You know what I mean? And I'm smoking a cigar, so it doesn't look like much. You know what I mean? But if I wasn't smoking the cigar, they would assume I have a crack pipe, or you know what I mean? This, that, the other. You know what I mean? It helps me stay incognito better. Something to do. Helps my weed. My weed lasts longer. I don't know, man. They are. I mean, as cheap as they are, I'm still spending a decent amount of money on them. But yeah, man, trying to get to 500 subscribers, man. I don't know. Like, trying to, I don't know. It's not gonna happen. Just keep the live stream open until I make it to 500, which that'll probably take days. But I don't know. But each time I go live, it seems like each time I go live, I find at least one new subscriber. One new person comes across my live stream and they're like, yeah, this guy's pretty chill. I'll help him out. You know what I mean? But damn, it's like pulling teeth. It's like pulling teeth out of someone's mouth trying to get them to fucking subscribe. Oh my god, dude. I think that's why it's only 1,000. They figured, I guess YouTube figured how hard it is to actually even get 1,000 subscribes. But it takes till that point before you can start making money. Start making pennies off of them. Because it sucks. I've seen some people, they have a couple thousand views on their videos, but they're like me at about 400 or 500 subscribers. So that couple thousand views that their video made, they didn't even, you know what I mean? You just get pissed on. But I don't know. Like I said, the lives do pretty good, man. View wise, I end up with like 100 to 200 views for going live because I'm live for so long, and the people that swip in and out. You know what I mean? I've got people that come in and view, and then they click on it like 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? I get like 4 or 5 views from one person viewing. You know what I mean? But I get a little bit too intense or abrasive in the live stream where I can't like post it as a video. You know what I mean? It's either you're there or you're not. But yeah. But that's what the long format videos are for too, you know what I mean? I don't know. And it's more or less just something to do, man. Sitting here talking, even just one viewer, better than just sitting here doom scrolling YouTube, you know. It all adds up. I need to get another black screen video. I want to do like a 5 or an 8 hour black screen video just for whatever that does. Some people will click on it. I don't know. But I'm waiting for a really good rain. So I can get like a lot of like the rain sound pinging off the car. I want to get like, 5 hour black screen and rain just pouring on the roof of the car. I don't know. Yeah. And I'm sorry, like I know for the most part that's kind of why YouTube doesn't like me either, because I curse way too much. Because I can see it in other people's videos. You know what I mean? The people, I don't know, because I see, now that I'm a smaller creator, it's throwing me a lot of more smaller creators for me to like, people, I don't know. But yeah, I could see. Yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying, man. I can't help it. It's just how I express my emotion. You know what I mean? But yeah, because I'm not really something that you can watch in front of your kids. It does hurt my channel. I can see that. Like YouTube, man, you almost have to. You know what I mean? It's almost like Disney Channel in a way. You have to be that PG. Yeah. But yeah, I saw something about like the first 5 minutes, like like if I can watch my cursing in the first 5 minutes of my my videos that I do post, I got to watch the cursing in the first 5 minutes, and then after that point, the algorithm watches it like less hard, just like I don't know, for some reason it follows the intro really 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 hard. But if you wait till the 5 minute point and then you curse, you got a different kind of flag, you know what I mean, at least. But yeah, I don't know. I'm from the pirate capital of the world. I can't help but curse, you know. And in Florida, we're all kind of like landlocked sailors. I'm seriously thinking about getting a boat and just living on the boat. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's crazy how big Asmon got, but like Asmon got that big because the algorithm can't fight him. You know what I mean? People. There's enough people that love him that the algorithm they have to put him out there because too many people want to see what he's got to say. You know what I mean? That's like the one guy I've seen. He breaks the whole mold on the whole fucking YouTube algorithm. Is Asmon? You know what I mean? But he's more of a Twitch streamer, and then he takes the Twitch part of the Twitch streams, and then puts it as a video on YouTube. So he's basically making two incomes off of it. You know what I mean? Which I don't even know if I'm going to get that in depth. You know what I mean? I don't want to do all of that. I don't want to have 5 different fucking platforms. You know what I mean? It's too much work, man. You know what I mean? If I can get to a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube, I don't really need to fuck around with fucking TikTok and Instagram and all this other bullshit. you know. Just more work, you know. Plus, I don't even know how I don't use TikTok as it is, so I'd have to like teach myself how to even fucking use the how the app itself even fucking moves and shit. You know what I mean? And then be posting videos on there that I don't. Where's it even gonna go? You know? Because it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like TikTok as it is. I don't like any of those follow the fad fucking websites. You know? I feel like if you know eventually TikTok will be replaced by something else. But I feel like YouTube will probably still be a thing once TikTok dies out. You know what I mean? YouTube is too powerful. You know what I mean? It's better than a rabbit ear antenna TV was. You know what I mean? But it's even more easily accessible than rabbit ear antenna TV was. You know? I don't know. People in third and fourth world countries starting to have phones and check out YouTube for the first time. You know what I mean? They're not going to TikTok right away. They're going to YouTube because there's a red play button. You know, you unlock your phone and there's this big red play button right there. Why would you go past that to download TikTok? You know, especially you're from another country where it's your first time even playing with a phone and stuff. You know, like YouTube's it's gonna stay the OG because it's built into Google. So I mean, anybody that's not operating on an iPhone, they're gonna try to put YouTube in front of you. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Yeah, and then I don't know. Like I try to encourage other people to do it too. Like there's one guy I work with. I think he'd be awesome as a personality on YouTube because he's such a he's got a good personality as it is with people like in real life. But yeah, I feel like I was telling him like, dude, you should make YouTube videos. I'm like, it really wouldn't be that hard. I'm like, you just find a topic that you want to rant about, right? And like you can write pre-write a little essay basically, like write like a 5 paragraph essay of something you want to write or you want to rant about, and then just record yourself reading that essay, but don't make it look like you're reading directly off the paper. Make it look like you're talking, to a friend. You're discussing a topic with a friend. And like, and if you make it a video that's more than 10 minutes long, because YouTube likes videos that are more than 10 minutes long. It's good for viewer engagement, stuff like that. Like if you want a short video, you do the YouTube shorts. You know what I mean? But if you're wanting a longer video, then you want something beefier. Something that's not 8.5 minutes. You want something that's 22 minutes. At least me, when I'm shopping for a video to watch on YouTube, I look for a longer program, something where I can zone out for longer. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, this is one guy, the offended outcast. He's just an old guy. He's trying to get like off grid land. He's been living in a camper on like a campground, and so he's trying to like get his own land that's like his campground. You don't have to pay a daily fee to be there. You know what I mean? And he gets on. He'll post. I think like at least one video a week he posts where it's just him ranting about something. But he's such an old man that he's talking about real shit. You know what I mean? You can't ignore what he's saying because he's giving you real advice while he's talking to you. But he talks about like the housing market's just complete bullshit nowadays. How he worked hard his whole life and then can't even afford to live in a camper at a campground because that costs the same amount as a mortgage. One man skins animals in his shop. Yeah, yeah, you can make a YouTube video about that. Let's see. You just kind of gotta find whatever topic it is that you're making videos on that you can do with ease. You know what I mean? For me, certain people are interested in homeless life, checking out what the other side of things are. So I do that, and then I mix the Uber driving into it because some people are on the cusp of having to go drive for Uber. So they're looking for videos like, well, how do I do it? How does what do I do? So I kind of fit into both of those niches by making the videos that I do have. You know what I mean? And then I'm trying to expand out from there. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to find a way to keep the channel going. Um, you know what I mean? I don't want to Uber drive forever, unless maybe I can. You know what I mean? But I definitely would want to upgrade the car because I can't. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to trust this car to like leave the state with. You know what I mean? Because I could probably do that at some point, like just be traveling across the country because of Uber. Like Uber's my job. You know what I mean? And I have a newer, more reliable car where I could just, video myself going in, traveling through all these different states and then Ubering in here and, you know, you know what I mean? But I don't really want to go that direction either because it's relying on a car way too much, you know? It'd be easier for me to just um, yeah. It'd be easier for me to just work the fucking retail job, you know what I mean? Than to be running around chasing all this fucking bullshit around for Uber, you know? The plus side of it would be the fact that I could get up and go to another state. I don't like the way they're paying in Kentucky. I can go check out Virginia for a little while. I don't like the way that it is, and I can keep going out west, and you know what I mean. Make a whole series of it. Me Uber driving to California, and then me Uber driving back. You know what I mean? But I'd want to be able to keep the job at the same time. I don't know. I'm still too tied to this job, even though it's a piece of shit. It's hilarious. But yeah, if I could talk to the job about, like, hey, can I go take a 6 month hiatus because I want to go drive out. I want to use the Uber, like I'm just saying, use the Uber to go drive out to California and then drive back just to see if I can make it. Just for the fun, for the adventure. Would you all be okay with me taking 3 to 6 months off to do that? Which they're not. You know what I mean? They're gonna tell me just to quit and see if I can get rehired. You know what I mean? Which will be way harder. They'll change the application process and all that shit where I won't even be able to fucking submit an application. They probably already have, just since me starting there and now. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, so much of that shit going on. I'll be applying to a job where, since they have the job posted on a recruiting website, they're looking for like that unicorn candidate. They say urgently hiring all positions, but they really only have like 2 spots that they need to fill. You know what I mean? And so if you're not that unicorn candidate that they're trying to find, that needle in a haystack kind of, you're not even going to get picked for an interview. You know what I mean? They don't want real people. They want, yeah. I don't know if I would like Vegas. It might be too much of a crowd for me. I mean, at the same time, I want to live somewhere that has like a good walk score. You know what I mean? I could just walk anywhere. Like anything I'm gonna need to get through a week, I can literally just walk there. I won't even need a car. I could be in a certain city like that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's a lot of fucking crowd to deal with when you're that on the grid. You know what I mean? When you're that on grid, it's all these fucking townies and everything. I don't know, man. But no, I don't know. I don't know if Vegas would be a good spot for me. But yeah, I don't know, just to drive across the country would be nice, you know. And then you're kind of getting paid to do it through Ubering. You know what I mean? Just keep taking orders that keep pulling you west, and get paid to go the whole fucking way. Check out Austin, Texas. You know what I mean? Check out certain cities as you pass through. Never been to New Orleans. I would like to check that out. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, like a mile away, but also like you just got a spot in the woods too. Nobody can even people don't even really know that you're there. But then yeah, you're like a bicycle ride. You can get to Walmart and get anything you need, rather than it being like an hour fucking drive in a car. You know, I don't know, man. It's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Can't win from losing in this bitch. Yeah. Do it again, Griffin. Yeah. This dude, it's like a 30-year-old fucking truck. It looks like it's being held together with fucking duct tape. But he's proud. He's proud. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Getting a van, I'm definitely gonna get a van. I just fucking the price of these apartments, man. It's fucking insane, man. You know what I'm saying? You might as well you could buy a new van every month instead. You know? And granted, you're not gonna, but yeah, sure, I'm sure you can get on Craigslist and you could buy another $1,000 car each month, you know, versus like paying to fucking live somewhere. Because, like I'm saying, like you're gonna be alive either way. You know what I mean? You can't like stop you from living just because you're not paying for fucking real estate. Right, and you have the right to exist, and then the human bill of rights that any part of anybody that's in the United Nations, they have to follow the human bill of rights, and in the human bill of rights, a human has the right to rest. So you know what I mean. So it's not illegal if I were to just get out of my car and sleep underneath this tree. You know what I mean. I'm not breaking any law to sleep there. Yeah, the owner of the land could trespass me from his property, but then at that point, like I'm told to leave, right? But then I'm not actually doing anything wrong once I've left the property again. I could find another tree and just sleep under. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I could even just sleep right here, man. It's a little bit noisy, a little bit, there's a lot of lights and shit. I wouldn't want to just sleep right here. I want to try to get away from, some of the society. 1,200 would get a nice motorhome. Put it, but to park it, yeah, but to park it anywhere would probably cost another 1,000 a month. Because with like motorhomes, the sanitation thing, you know what I mean, where you gotta have it plugged into the city water and sewer still or something like that. You can only have it for so many days where it's in between. No, it's not my gym. I'm thinking about getting switched over to this gym because the gym I'm at, it's a fucking piece of shit for the amount of money that I'm paying. This place looks like it's better, and I think it's cheaper per month. Even the crowd of the people that are coming and going look like better people. Yep. Happy Easter, everybody. It ain't been a bad one. Hell yeah. People are getting in the car next to me. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, each time I go live, I feel like I get at least one new subscriber. Sometimes I'll surprise myself, and when I close the live stream, I'll have like 6 new subscribers. So it's slowly building up. You know what I mean? Not getting to 500 quite as quickly as I wanted to, but I still feel like I'm on a good pace as far as I'm trying to get to 1,000 by September would be nice. And like since it's like a year of me making videos, take about a year before you finally get an audience of 1,000 people. You know what I mean? That I feel like that's a good primer. Something to aim for. You know what I mean? It's not too far out of the picture because I'm about halfway there. I'm about probably at 430 subscribers now. But even just to get to 5 would be nice. But yeah, I get to 5, and then I'll want 6, and then I'll want 7, then I'll want 8, and then I'll want 9, and then when I'm at 9, I'm gonna be so close to 1,000, I can't stop there. But almost be like, by the time I get to 9, it might take like another 2 weeks or so. You know what I mean? How much longer would it take to get another 100 once I'm at 900? Basically, you know what I mean? Because I've seen other people do it. And this one lady, I pretty much was like the 900th subscriber, and then it took her like one more week to get the other, the other 100. And then she ended up breaking. She got like 101 night or something like that. When she finally did break 1,000, she went from like like 173. She went to like 973 all the way to like 1.1K in one night when she finally did break that 1,000. But granted, she's email, so you get a bonus from that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like I notice sometimes, I pop off my shirt, I get a different crowd, different crowd of people coming in late at night. I don't know. I'm hanging out here. I feel like the signal's pretty good from out here at least. The stream only crashed one time. I got 76% battery on my phone. I didn't have it plugged in for the longest time. I don't know, because it was at like 99 when I started streaming, and then it went down to like 60, and I plugged it back in, and it's back up to 76 now while streaming. But anyway, that's pretty much it, man. It's been a pretty easy day. Just getting through it. I'll hit it a little bit harder tomorrow. Hit it even harder the next day, probably. Might take Wednesday, kind of relax a little bit. I don't know. Tuesday would probably be the better day to just take as a relaxation day. But yeah. Currently at 11%. 11% of a Bitcoin. So I'm doing pretty good there too. Haven't really stacked up too much more, but because I've been I don't know, taking it slower, taking it easier on the car, she feels like she's gonna something bad's about to happen. So I'm trying to, you know what I mean. If I could take it easier on her, get 6 more months of use out of her instead of just 2 more months of use out of her would be nice. 6 more months, I don't know. 6 more months of stacking, I probably would, at that point probably have enough to be able to buy the land. And then with, I don't know, with the land, I might be able to talk to the boss and they're like, hey, can you give me some more actual hours? Because I don't know, I'd have a base camp. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just I would feel better psychologically to where I probably could work the actual job more. But yeah, like just a van and some land, man, that I would be so much better off from my current situation too. Which wouldn't, I'm not that far from. Just got to keep moving a little bit each day. But yeah, not a bad gym. I'll show you a little bit. It's like double the size of my gym because my gym's only like like it's like half. And then you can see there's TVs in there and shit. There's TVs attached to the exercise bikes. You know what I mean? They probably have a better shower setup and everything. Oh, hang on. Nice, man. A skill saw, like a jigsaw. One of the ones with the pencil blade that just goes up and down. Or no, you're talking a skill saw, like a table saw cutter. Welcome to Florida. Yeah. Yeah, circular saw. Yeah. Yeah. I grabbed him too, man. At least would have took him for like the copper wire, the cord. Well, I gotta scoot up the street here a little bit, get some refill. Hell yeah, man. Still got some good voltage too. Shot me 12.2 volts in the car. Hell yeah, man. Where'd my lighter go? Holy fuck. There it is. Yeah, if you're tuning in for the first time, okay, we'll see you later. Get the fuck out of here. All right, go ahead. Pretty close. But no. I don't know. Like, I'll eventually I'll let y'all know my name because there's other YouTubers that they're fine with people knowing their name. You know what I mean? I don't know. Trying to trying to get a certain level of security first before I do all that. Because I'm still kind of on the fence if like, because really in total I'm trying to get to 0.2 Bitcoin, right? And I'm only at 0.1 right now. But it makes sense because it's going to be a smaller stack. I want to keep it together. You know what I mean? I don't want to divide it because it's gonna be a small amount for the time being. You know what I mean? It makes better sense to keep it together. And then where I've got it right now, it's still on Robinhood because I'm still stacking it. You know what I mean? I haven't pulled it off the exchange and put it on a hardware wallet. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I need to do that, but at the same time I'm trying to. I don't want to just put 11. I don't want to put 11% onto one wallet and then buy a whole other wallet for the other 10%. You know what I mean? I'd really like to have the whole 21% on one wallet. You know what I mean? Would make better sense as far as because I'm trying to withdraw against it to buy land with, at some point, you know what I mean? Some point here in the near future. You know what I mean? I don't want to wait 5 years to do that with. So I need to keep it in a bigger pile so I can do that with in the time being. You know what I mean? What's up, Simon? How you doing, man? Yeah, that's the only thing I know for sure. Let's just keep stacking in here. Got a cop driving by. They can't do nothing. I'm just sitting in. You know what I mean? Gotcha, man. You're good. But yeah, I'm just hanging out, enjoying the rest of Easter. I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to go. I already know which direction I'm going to go to get a nap for the night. But I'm waiting to. I don't know. Probably should just head out. Especially if I already got cops rolling around in circles now. Granted, I'm not doing anything, but that's how people are. You know what I mean? I'm literally just sitting in my car live streaming myself sitting in my car, but people will freak out, start calling the cops and shit. But yeah, it does make sense to go ahead and slide down the street. It's getting late. Not late, late. How you doing, T Honda 92? That's the first time I'm seeing your name. How you doing, man? Welcome in. Yeah, I've been living in my car since September. It's a 2007 Toyota Corolla. I've been homeless about 3 or 4 times, throughout my life now at this point. I'm trying to make this be the last time. Trying to build something smaller that I don't have to worry, you know what I mean? I don't have to worry too much about losing it to inflation or expenses and, all this other, you know what I mean? Not trying to buy a house that I need to pay for 30 years. I'm trying to buy a house that I can pay off in about 5 years. You know what I mean? Granted, it doesn't exist, so you kind of have to build it on your own. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Plan on starting out with something small, just having a place where I can park my car because it's my own, my own private property. And I have permission from the owner to be there because I'm the owner. It's my property. You know what I mean? You can't really tell me. I don't know. But yeah, that's my plan at this point. Is just build something small for myself, just so I got a place I can retreat to for the day, and then continue to build from the next day. You know. I'm not trying to. I don't know, man. If I get into like renting a place for the same amount of money. You know what I mean? And I'm paying out $1,000 a month, and it's not even going into my own long-term investment on something. It's just me paying somebody else $1,000 a month because I'm alive. You know, so I'm wondering why there's not like an option. You know, if you can rent a 1 bedroom, why is there no option to buy a 1 bedroom? You know what I mean? There kind of is, but you gotta, like I'm saying, you gotta build it yourself because it doesn't actually exist. But yeah, we're trying to buy land and then just have to pay an impact fee on top of that. So the land, basically, if I'm buying land for $15K, it'll cost me another $15K to build anything on it. So I'll be in the hole for about $30K before I've even built anything on it. And then to build anything on it, they're probably going to want me to hook it up into the city sewer and have it hooked up to a well and everything as well. So, you know, by that point, I'll probably be in the hole about $50K to even put a shed on it. You know, like, 'cause that's all I really need is like an 8x12 one room shack. That's all I need. I don't need to. Why am I buying any more than that? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to impress somebody. I just need a place to sleep. You know. But I don't know, man. It's stupid, I know, but at the same time, it sounds just as stupid to fucking pay for 30 fucking years of your life on something. It sounds just as fucking stupid. It's like, you know, like I say, like it's like you're biting off more than you can even chew. You know, and then now you've got to figure out how you're gonna fucking, you know, keep this job for 30 years so that you can keep making the payments on this shit. I don't know, man. Just the whole system's got so fucking corrupt. But yeah, I'm gonna ride up the street and kind of get to one of my camping spots for the night. Thinking about buying land out here where I'm heading. It's probably gonna get dark along the way. Just a heads up. What are you doing? Left or right, you dumb fuck? I'm trying to build up a little bit of an audience, and then I can eventually turn the stream this way, you know, and then broadcast horizontally instead of vertically. After I get some kind of a fan base, you know, I get like 5 people that are coming into the live and watching, you know, be able to turn it this way, and you know what I mean? Because I'd like to move the road. Buying land doesn't seem like a bad idea. Consider you can park your car. Also, you can save up until you build. Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Because I'm trying to find a place where there's no HOA, so I don't have to worry about that. And there's still options as far as that. But you still got, you know, an increasing number of Karens every single day. There's another Karen born. You know, people are just gonna come getting your shit for no fucking reason. But I'm hoping I can get the property and put a fence around it, just like a chain link, you know, 4 foot or 5 foot tall, however, you know, chain link fence, put around the whole perimeter, so that way it keeps people off it to begin with. Are you gonna go? Go. Sorry, this dude in this big, huge fucking Ram 2500 almost did, I don't know. He acted like he was gonna, like he had to take off to get in front of me at the light, but then when it's time to go, he didn't want to fucking move. I don't know. But yeah, I'm betting if I buy the land, I'm betting I can at least camp on it for a couple of months before anybody even finds out. Hang on, I'm trying to see if I can do something about the lighting here. That didn't do much. But yeah, to buy the land and then get caught, and then I'm stuck with the land. I can't even use it for what I was intending to do, right? Because they're eventually going to chase me off if they see my car parked there. You know what I mean? For one reason or another. But I'm hoping in a way, it's not illegal to just sleep on the ground, right? If I own the land, it's not. If I don't even build anything, and then I can make it look like, well, I'm not even living in the car. I sleep on the ground. You know, like the car is just my transport mode. Like when I use the car for driving, and then I park it on my land because this is my land. But then, you know, when I go to sleep, I just sleep right here on this dirt patch right here. You know, because there's no rule against that. You know what I mean? But they do have rules about you can't camp on your land. You can only camp for like 90 days at a time on your land. So if I make it look too much like I'm camping there, you know what I mean? There's other shit I'm gonna have to do as far as that. You know, a way around that is maybe I could buy 4 different pieces of property. You know what I mean? But then I have 4 different fucking pieces of property. You know what I mean? I don't want it. It just sounds stupid. But yeah, with the 4 different pieces of property, you can camp on each property for 90 days at a time, and then boom, that's a year. You know what I mean? There's just different stupid laws. You know what I mean? There's nothing but fucking laws everywhere you go. It's almost to the point it makes me not even want to buy the land because there's too many fucking rules with it. You know, you can't just have land and like try to homestead it. You have to pay to put this $200,000 or $300,000 house on it. That's why you bought the land, was so that you were putting this house on it. You know, it's just stupid. But I'm trying to, see how long I can even get away with that. Just parking my car on my, and you know, just take, hopping in the back seat of the car and taking a nap. You know, but you know, at least, like I said, at least that way every day, I'd know where I'm going each night. You know what I mean? I'd know there's a certain level of safety that I can have with having a chain link fence around my property. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then I might could ultimately work the actual job more because I've got more of a secure landing zone every night, you know? But I don't know. Something to get to. But yeah, right now, like I said, I've been living in the car since September. Planning on being here until September, just to give myself a long enough time horizon. Doing pretty good so far. About half the money saved, as far as, you know, just buying the land outright. Which that's what I want to do. I'm not trying to put myself in debt for any reason. You know what I mean? I don't know. Even if it was for like a $300,000 house, I don't want to do that. It would be smarter to me to just save up $25,000 and buy land outright. And it's way more feasible in my head. You know, because I don't know, the credit, they always play games with you about your credit, and that and the other bullshit. Throw more fucking speed bumps in the way, you know, and all you're trying to do is create a spot for yourself in the world where you can, you know, you can continue to be a progressive individual like I want you to be. But I don't know, man. I'm just kind of priced out of actually living in this country at this point already. Happy Easter. Thank you. Appreciate that. My channel needs more female subscribers. I appreciate it. But yeah, like I said, I've been living in the car since September. I'm trying to make it not have to last longer than September. You know, even if I'm still sleeping in the back of the car, but I at least have like a base camp I can go to each night. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, to pay $1,000 a month for something that I'm not even gonna end up owning, just paying $1,000 a month, it doesn't make any sense. You know. But yeah, happy Easter, appreciate it. Come on, dude, make your fucking turn, bro. God damn. Because you really had to slow down to 4 miles an hour to be able to turn left. But yeah, trying trying to upgrade the phone because the live streaming is starting to take off a little, you know what I mean? But if I got one viewer, I'll keep live streaming, for whatever reason. I'd rather live in my truck and travel. I'm trying to basically do, if I can upgrade my car, get something a little bit more reliable, something with a little bit more cubic footage. You know what I mean? I might just say goodbye to the job and then just, use the Uber to travel around with, and then to video it all at the same time. I don't know, I think it'd be cool. I don't know. You could at least look back on it, even if it was just like 2 years of your life or something. You were fucking around for a little bit, driving around for Uber to, see some more of the country rather than just driving in circles to work for 2 years even, you know what I mean? But yeah, this car, being that it's a 2007, I almost have an antique tag on it, so like it's getting up there. Might have to get an antique tag next time I get a tag. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, especially people that live in like Manhattan or something like that. Like I was watching a video, this guy's he's paying $3,000 a month for a 60 square foot apartment. It's 6 feet by 10 feet long. And he's like literally has just enough room for his bed and then like a dresser and then a litter box for his cat. And then since it's a 60 square foot apartment, he can't keep the apartment from smelling like fucking cat, So, I don't know, but he's paying $3,000 a month. I'm like, dude, man, you could be buying, that's a used car every month. You could be buying a new, well, not a new, you could be buying a cheap van every month. You know what I mean? For the same 3,000. You know what I mean? Obviously, you would try to do it cheaper. You know what I mean? You wouldn't try to spend the same amount of money. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just crazy how much they want from people just for housing. And get you to the point where it's like, okay, well, I guess it's need over want, right? Need over want. So I guess I don't really need a house. I more or less just want a house. And people, my whole life, people be like, they're like, oh, you don't have a credit card? You don't fuck with credit yet? And it was like, well, do you ever plan on buying a house? And it's like, if you get to the point where you're like, well, actually, no, I don't really plan on buying a house. I'm like, well, then I guess you don't need to fuck around with credit. You don't have to worry about your credit then. Because I mean, what do you really need credit to buy past like a vehicle that you can't afford or a house that's overpriced? I mean, what else do you really? I mean, you use credit for stupid shit. Past that, you know what I mean? You fucking spend years building up your credit. How you doing? What's that? Feeling good, XD. On the bright side, you got a new shirt. Yeah, no, I've had this shirt for like 5 years or better now. But yeah, I try to wear the same shirt for a while just to it's less laundry. If I can create a load of clothes in a week, or I can create a load of clothes in a month. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what I try to do. But yeah. Just hanging out, man. I had a couple of viewers. They're hanging out while I was driving here. I don't know how that was that much more interesting, but I don't know. As soon as I stopped, all the viewers left. But anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of glad I've been making the videos since September, even for myself, even, you know what I mean? Because I can go back and watch them myself. I was watching a video, like my first video of me getting here, pretty much, and then just even seeing the difference in my hair, the length in my hair was such a there was such a big difference. Even I don't know. My plans are about the same though. Still, like, yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, you're cool, man. It's the economy is horrible right now. I don't think anybody is doing good. There's some people that are doing good. You know what I mean? Because they keep their chin up through the heavy rain. You know what I mean? They were doing well enough already that the struggle that we're all in, but they're affected by it. But all they have to do is put a little bit more shoulder into what they were already doing. You know what I mean? Me, I'm kind of more or less like I do have a job, and then I do the Uber too. So I kind of got two jobs, but I still need a better job. And if I had a better job in the first place, I wouldn't need to do the Uber. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just kind of like I'm in between jobs since I got thrown out of Amazon. You know what I mean? I went and found the quickest place I could find to go get a job that wasn't in a kitchen. You know what I mean? And like I said, granted, it beats the hell out of working at like a Dollar General, or about half of the jobs that I have the skill set to do. This job's better than that. You know what I mean? Where I'm at, we can clean the bathroom once a week. You know what I mean? We don't have to worry about cleaning the bathroom 4 or 5 times a day. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. It's that much more chill a place to begin with. I don't know. Plus the oil prices right now. That's a lot of jobs he took. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, the job itself isn't bad, man. They don't give me enough time because I don't really have the knowledge to be there. You know what I mean? They're more or less doing me a favor by giving me hours. You know what I mean? But the job labor wise, I don't want to leave it, man. Like what they expect you to do to get paid is like the least I've ever had any place I've ever worked. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, man, I really should hold on to this. You know, just because it's the physical toll on your body. This is the easiest place I've ever found. You know, and the only reason it doesn't really pay very well is because I'm not really making the time that I need. And I'm living in my car. I don't really need a whole lot of time. I don't know. The guy I'm working for, he's got his head shoved so far up his own fucking ass. You know what I mean? It's really the store I'm at. It's not bad. Just the guy that's in charge, like I said, he's got his head shoved so far up his own fucking ass. He's got this biker club thing. He's a GM of the store. Like he's the general manager. He's got this biker club thing, and he's like a vice president in this biker gang. And then he's also his wife, girlfriend, girl that he was just kind of playing around with. She got pregnant, so now he's got a kid coming on the way from this girl that he was just kind of playing around with for a while. So he's got a bunch on his plate. I understand, but at the same time, it's like where I'm coming from, I only need like 25 hours a week. I live in my car. You know what I mean? And for some reason, I had to give him complete open availability to be able to get that from him. And with me giving him complete open availability, he thinks it's okay to schedule me 6 days with only 4 hours each day. I'm like, no, that ain't cool, bro. Like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm not 22 anymore. I'm not doing that shit. Like if you want me to show up, then give me a decent amount of time where I'm actually making some money to show up. But yeah, the guy can't see it that way. You know what I mean? Like really, like I'm saying, I just need 20 to 25 hours a week, steady. You know, give me that in 3 8-hour days, and we could be cool. But I don't know. But yeah, like I said, and at the same time, even though the GM is kind of shitty, the job itself isn't the bad. You know what I mean? If I keep doing what I'm doing, I'll be able to outlast this GM. I already can clearly see that. You know what I mean? The store itself will survive because it's a good location. We'll just get rid of the GM that hasn't really been hands on enough. Have you thought about doing Amazon? I can't work for Amazon ever again. I don't even think I could work for a company that affiliates with Amazon. And at the same time, I also can't work for FedEx either, for kind of similar reasons. But I worked there so long, I finally just boiled over, like from the shit, from working and seeing the way that the shit operates. My facility, it was terrible, dude. We had, I don't know who's to blame, but in my city there was a huge influx of Haitian population. Like any of the Haitians that were lucky enough that they made it to America, they told each other like, "Oh, you need to go to Springfield, Ohio." It's just word of, they all told each other this is where you go. So that in my hometown, or not the hometown, but the town I was in, a population of like 20,000 people, and then now there's another 40,000 Haitian immigrants. On a town with a population, they have the infrastructure to handle 20,000 people. Like when you go to the DMV or something like that, and now there's 3x as many people that were like kind of dropped on us in a couple of months. And at the factory that I was working at, they had a bunch of them. You know what I mean? But they would come to work and they weren't even fucking doing anything. You know what I mean? So after a while, it would just kind of drive me nuts how much they'd be on my back and checking my metrics and where are you at and how long are you in the bathroom and all this other, you know what I mean? And then you've got like, they would take 4 other employees that could produce what I could make. Like when I was working and busting ass, you know what I mean? But like in the moments where I would only work as hard as them, they'd want to ride my ass. Like, you're not doing enough. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we're making the same amount per hour. I don't understand how me doing the same, me with, I don't know. You know what I mean? How am I doing anything less? I don't know. But they just build that expectation out of you. You know what I mean? They you give them too much of yourself from day one, pretty much. Like from day one, you come in giving them a certain percentage of yourself, and then they just expect that every day. Like, okay, this guy gives us this much. That's what we get out of him. And then the one day that you don't have the whole 100% to give them, they're like, what the fuck? What's going on? And I'm like, dude, like, fuck, y'all tripled the numbers on us. And in the 3 or 4 years that I was working here, y'all tripled the quote. And then so to keep everything at bay, you'll get rid of the whole factory. You'll replace everybody in the factory, so that way people that are here, they don't even know that the quote was that it used to be this much. We used to only have to do this much per hour, but now they're making us do 600 an hour, and then y'all all just do it for some reason. It's like, I don't know. And then at the same time, they don't either. Like I said, it take four other employees could do what I could do. If I came in with a good head of steam and I was willing to give them the fucking A work, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I've gotten to that philosophy now where I'm not trying to outwork the person next to me. There's no fucking point, And then just I do that from day one. Day one. I'm on, if everybody else is going this fast, then I'm only gonna go that fast. There ain't no reason for me to try and run circles around all these other people here for y'all to only notice the bad things I'm doing. You know what I mean? Anyway. But no, I wouldn't want to do Amazon Flex either way. If because I heard they stack a fuckload of deliveries on you. You'll pull up, and then they'll put like 200 fucking delivery. You'll have 200 drops in your car, and then they want to give you like $100 to make 200 fucking stops. So you get 50 cents a stop, and then they'll be timing you the whole way. Like I don't know, man. It's stupid. I would rather do like the Walmart Spark driving. You know what I mean? But that I can't do Walmart while I'm living in my car, because the amount of stuff that they put on these orders, sometimes it takes more space than I have available. You know what I mean? If I get an order that's got like 4 cases of water on it, that's my whole trunk. My whole trunk is getting used just for the 4 cases of water. And in Walmart Spark, sometimes they'll double up on you. You have to do like 3 different drop-offs. You'll have shit for one customer in your front passenger seat, shit for one customer all across your back seat, shit for one customer in the trunk, just so you keep it separated from, you know what I mean? But yeah, I can't do that while I'm living in the car. I don't have the space for it all. If I get to the van, I might could pull it off. But I don't know. In the meantime, I'm just doing what I can, man. It'd be nice if I could, eventually find somebody through the YouTube, somebody else that lives in Florida or whatever. You know what I mean? They see what I'm doing, and that that I still work. I still do my part. I'm not running up a fucking wall. You know what I mean? And somebody that I could help them out by living on their fucking back porch or something. You know what I mean? Somebody that's bored or whatever, would like to have another, dude around just for company, and then they got a back porch that they don't even really do anything with other than go to smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean? And I'll give you $100 a week to stay on your back porch. You know what I mean? That's the dream pretty much at this point. If I end up making some money off the YouTube too, then cool. It's more money that I can just kind of put in a long-term retirement kind of self for my, because this is honestly something I could be retired and still want to make fucking YouTube videos and still want to go live and talk to people that are willing to hang out. You know what I mean? Maybe find a bro, like the two of us we're both live streaming together, me and another dude. Be more interesting. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to get into merchandise or, you know what I mean, too big into like advertise, fucking all that stupid, people, do a 60-second clip in your video of my product and then I'll give you, I'm not trying to do all that. I'm trying to just stay a real person through it all. You know what I mean? I'm trying to quit smoking. That's like one of my major goals right now. As I light up a cigarette. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, the Walmart Spark would be a better idea than the Flex, man. I'm in Ocala, pretty much, yeah. But like I live in my car, so I don't really like have an address. You know what I mean? I'm just pretty much anywhere I can find a spot that I haven't been chased off of yet. West Palm Beach. Okay, took me a second to read that. Well, I mean, do you have a couch in your garage, or you got a nice back porch or something, man? Maybe $100 a week if I can stay there. maybe five. We could do 500 or something. I can't do too much more than that. That's at that point, I might as well just go get a studio. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a stupid idea. I don't, I'm just playing around. But it would be cool, you know what I mean? Because I could probably get a transfer at my job. Yeah, find a dude that, find some guy that's living by himself. Fucking, hey, yeah, you can crash on my porch, and I'll let you have the living room. Whatever. You know what I mean? And then I'm helping him out with $400 or $500 a month. You know what I mean? And it helps me out because it's like half price of, going to get a studio or a 1-bedroom somewhere would be over $1,000 a month. 8 people, holy shit. That's a lot of people in Florida though. I can't, me being an Uber driver, I can't tell you how many houses, like I pull up to the house and there's like 8 cars. We had 8 cars and nobody could go drive and get this food for you. You had to pay somebody else to go get this food. 12 cats. Only 1 dog, though. I feel bad for that 1 dog. The 1 dog, man. That's probably his version of hell. 12 cats and all these people everywhere. I have never DoorDashed anything to my house. I will go get my food. Yeah, I mean, I can get it to some extent. If you're making that much money per hour, where, fuck it, I can give somebody $10 to bring me something. I don't feel like going anywhere right now. 8-mile drive one way, you know, and an 8 mile, you know, I understand that side of it. But yeah, me personally, like, I don't know, man. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it's worth it. You know, like, my ex, she would used to do the Walmart delivery type of shit. And that's, you know, versus having to go to Walmart, spend 2 hours in the store trying to, like, elbow your way through people, get the food that you want, you know. You could just place the order for Walmart delivery or even a pickup, you know what I mean? And then you're helping other people. It's job creation too, because now they have people that walk around Walmart and literally just do the shopping for the online orders, you know. And it really don't cost that much more, you know what I mean? It might even be the same price to get the Walmart stuff delivered, minus the, you know, the $5 delivery fee or whatever it is. It's probably because I got my phone a little bit further away. I'm trying to upgrade this phone here in the next couple paychecks or so. Now that, you know, now the live streams are starting to get off the ground, I need to invest in the channel a little bit more. But I know upgrading the phone, it'll probably have a better mic on it. It'll probably have better RAM. You know what I mean? It'll have a better. And look, the phone I'm looking at, it's gonna have like a 50 megapixel front camera. You know what I mean? So it'll probably almost be too. You know what I mean? It'll be too much. I'll be losing people because people, you know, be looking at all the wrinkles on my face and shit. But I do apologize. I used to have the phone like right here off of my steering wheel, but I bought this mount that mounts on the window just to kind of have it a little bit further away. You know what I mean? And then my phone's in a case too, so the case is probably blocking right where the microphone is. But yeah, trying to get to like 500 subscribers first. If I get to 500 subscribers, that's pretty much what my goal was in my head, to hit 500 subscribers and then upgrade the phone from there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Smoking for 25 years, quit cold turkey after a heart attack. Yeah, I'm trying to quit too, but they're 10 cents a cigar. You know, they're cheap as fuck still for some reason. And then it just gives me something to do, man. It gives my hands something to do. Just, you know what I mean. You were a smoker, you know what I mean. The hardest thing is like trying to, well, what do I do with my hands now? You know, do I start playing with a deck of cards or something? Like, I was 2.5 packs a day. Damn. Yeah, it's like I get a pack of cards I can shuffle all day or something. Just sit there shuffling my deck of cards. It's like I used to smoke cigarettes. It's like, okay. Yeah, no, I got a pretty nice, reliable car as far as that. I do have some scheduled maintenance plan. I got a good mobile mechanic dude that I know. He'll pretty much show up. I can be anywhere down south as far as Brooksville. He'd probably show up. I could be all the way up in Gainesville. He'd probably show up. I could be out in Orlando. He'd probably show up. You know what I mean? I'd have to make it worth his while to drive out that far, but you know what I mean. But yeah, he's planning on getting a new serpentine belt, new water pump. I'll probably need a new pulley somewhere. Want to get the ignition coils, the spark plugs redone, change out the coolant that's in the radiator, put some new coolant in. The basic stuff, you know. But I don't even know how much he would charge me for all that. Hell yeah. That's what I was thinking about getting into that too. Pest control. Don't It sounds like a job I could do. Not that I don't like get off from killing bugs, but I don't really like bugs either. It'd be a job where you're definitely kind of providing value to the world. You know what I mean? You're not just going to work and doing nothing. Getting paid somehow. You're actually doing like pest control. You know, it's more beneficial than me just being like a software engineer or something. You know, sure the you know the system would appreciate that more. But yeah, I thought about even like making my own pest control company, or what kind of licensing you would need to do all that. You know, coming up with a good name for the company. You know what I mean? Just and then getting a couple of customers. You just do exterior only. You don't have to worry about going through their house. Just do an exterior spray with, you know, some fucking Orkin or some Roundup, or you know what I mean. You just buy, you know, chemical cost, buy by the barrel. You know what I mean? I don't know. I looked into it a little bit. Like I know it'd be easier just to work for some other pest control company and learn the ropes. You know what I mean? Before I just jumped into it for myself. But you know, like if I was gonna create my own company out of just a truck, you know, I don't think I'd get into tree cutting. I don't think I would get into pool cleaning. I don't think I would get into pressure washing. I would, you know, or lawn maintenance. I'd probably, you know, the exterminator sounds like the best role, you know, as far as all that. Like if I were to, you know what I mean, get a truck and put some chemicals in the back and slap a company logo on the side, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's cool talk. I mean, I'll talk to you some more, you know, especially because you're in Florida. I bet a lot of the licensing is probably similar. Your county's probably stricter than my county. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Ran into a buddy of mine from high school. He works with McCall Pest Control. But I literally just like we kind of bumped into each other while we were buying a drink. You know, um, I'm waiting for him to reach out to me. He did get my YouTube and shit, so I'm waiting for him to like comment on one of my videos, and I'll be able to, you know, reach out to him a little bit more. I might be able to get in where he's at. The only thing with it is I can't do early mornings. You know what I mean? I'd rather be like a 12 to 8 guy. You know, if I could somehow do pest control, you know, clocking in at 11 or noon, you know, and I work a little bit later on in the day, you know. That's the other problem I have is I'm not a morning person, so there's a lot of jobs I disqualify myself for, you know. Have you thought about making stuff and selling it? Yeah, I thought about even just parking my car in a good spot, right, and then just popping my trunk open, having a bunch of snacks and some bottled water. You know what I mean? Even to do that, you need to get an LLC license, though. You have to pay the state to be a roadside vendor. If like a police officer ever shows up and wants to like look at me for licensing and that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, it'd be better than driving around and putting 100, 200 miles on the car each day. I could just post up somewhere, and if I make $20 selling bottled water, you know what I mean. It's better than beating up the car in the first place. You know, you know what I mean. But that way, I wouldn't even have to take the time to make stuff. I could just buy a 24 pack of water and sell them for $1 a piece. Like even the place I'm working, that's all we're doing. You know, like I'm selling like rotors. You know what I mean? But the rotors we get, they're from India, so we're probably, you know, we're probably paying like $10 for the rotor and then selling them for 100 a piece. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of people they'll make stuff out of palm fronds even, because you can find palm fronds everywhere, and they'll just take palm fronds and weave it into a rope or basket, or you know, a lantern or keychain thing, or you know, some bullshit. But yeah, so far, you know, having some sort of success with the YouTube, which is kind of, you know, surprising myself even. But yeah. Well, damn. Yeah, I don't know, man. So I'm not really good at making stuff either. I'm more of like a person that takes stuff apart. I don't know. A lot of overhead cost with trying to, like, if I were to build picnic tables or something, like build and sell picnic tables, you would still need an area that you can build them. You know what I mean? Would have a bunch of tools and just pull out of the back of my car and start doing carpentry work and shit. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I could probably do that. I don't know. That sounds like arthritis to me. You know, just sitting there like, trying to like, oh man, you know, and then you're only selling them for like $5 a piece or something. Just like, putting 2 hours into weaving this fucking paracord together. And I already got like, I don't know, I've already got arthritis from having a fucking keyboard under my wrist all my life. And then, you know, the PlayStation controllers, they're not exactly like, you know, I don't know. This hand especially, like from fucking pushing the left stick forward so much. Yeah. Let's see. One of those should work. You might have to like use two of them to jump start it or whatever.
Thank you.
But you can keep them.
Thank you.
Actually, here. Gotcha.
Boom, I got it.
You're welcome, ma'am. Yep.
Hey, you waiting? You need a ride or something, do you?
You need a ride, baby? You want me to?
Probably gonna run inside and grab a drink. I need to. I don't have enough there. So those ain't just cigarettes. You were smoking maybe cigars, like nothing. You need to quit for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. And the cigarettes cost more. I don't know. It's only temporary. I'm hoping. So far, it's been like I've pretty much I picked them up in July. I started working at Papa John's and I was delivering pizzas at Papa John's and then being in the traffic and so much and I don't know. Just started sick smoking them. Then there was like a guy at my old job. I used to watch this dude get so many breaks. Like he worked, you know, he'd bust his ass. He'd earn the break, you know what I mean? But I'd see the dude, he'd go out there and get like 5 or 6 smoke breaks throughout the day. And I'm like, well, damn, maybe I should pick up smoking. It seems like you get more breaks, you know what I mean? So pretty much, I don't know. I'd go out there and I started, you know, just bumming cigarettes off of him. Like every other time he'd go out to get a cigarette, I'd go and, you know, I'm like, well, fuck, I feel like I got a cigarette break coming too. And I don't know, I just started smoking them since then. But it's, I don't know, it's a good cure for boredom at the same time. They take forever to burn. Like a normal cigarette will burn so much faster than these do. It's one advantage to smoking. I used to enjoy the extra breaks. Yep. Right, yeah, like, and then, you know, you earn the break too, you know what I mean? I don't know, kind of, sort of. And the people that don't smoke, they're trying to go to the bathroom more often. You know what I mean? All right. But yeah. Appreciate y'all hanging out, talking to me for the first time, getting to know me. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they pop in for like 5 seconds and then they're out. I can't even explain the situation to them enough. You know, I feel like it's better to beg for subscribers than to beg for money. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at with that. And I feel like I've got a pretty good story that I'm gonna be documenting if I do stay progressive, you know, throughout it. Which if I got people following along, you know what I mean? It's more of an incentive to get up and keep driving. You know what I mean? But I would do it regardless. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I got the windows down. I'm here. I don't know. I'm gonna finish this cigarette. I'm gonna get my drink refilled, and I'm gonna go around the corner trying to find a place to lay down for the night. Enjoying the lighting that I got though, because like once I get around the corner, all I have is this flashlight. You know what I mean? It'll be a little bit tougher to keep the audience retention. Right, right. And that's the way I'm. The people that are tuning in, you know what I mean? They're here because they see another real person. You know what I mean? They see somebody that's been, you know, on a bad season, trying to get through it. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to get to, man. I wanna go check out the Philippines. I want to check out Thailand. I want to check out El Salvador, especially because it's like 300 a month. 300 a month, you can have an apartment on the beach in the Philippines, or $1,000 a month here. I can live in a, you know, a studio, a 200 square foot studio for 3 times the price. A PhD dasher. She has a PhD and you have a PhD and you still have the DoorDash to make some grocery money. That's, yeah. I wouldn't say that's sad. That's just life. That's terrible though. You get a PhD, she should be writing books. You know what I mean? That's the thing, man. Like, things that piss me off about Amazon, man, because to be an area manager at Amazon, right? The people that they're looking for to be an area manager at an Amazon, you know, like a fucking fulfillment warehouse like you have in every city, right? But to be an area manager, like you're in charge of a crew of 12 maybe, they want you to have a master's degree to be an area manager at Amazon. And then you'd think people with a master's degree, you wouldn't even be applying at Amazon. You'd think at least, right? You spent the time to get a master's degree. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've still got a lot. Like if I were to stand next to a Buddhist monk, I would. You know what I mean? I've got so much. You know, I've got so much more going for me. You know what I mean? I just try to keep building from that aspect. Like people ask all the time, like, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do? Like I ask, like, well, what would Buddha do at the same time? You know what I mean? I don't think Buddha would work a 40-hour week at Walmart. I don't. You know, I'm not saying he wouldn't work. But I don't think he would just be like a corporate sleazeball for any one of these, any of them. I think he would just do like 20, 25 hours a week and then get the fuck back out of the way, you know. Let the people with kids have more time, because they, if you have five other mouths that you gotta feed, then I understand why you need to work 40 or 50 hours a week, or 60 or 70. But me, if I'm only looking after myself, I shouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Just the world's gotten that fucked up. We're in too much of a competition with each other. You have to work a 40-hour week just to keep up with everybody else, because we're all consumed by greed to the point where we don't know any other way. I don't know. I'm gonna go in here and get a refill. Right, I'm the same way. But yeah, you have to show up for the Saturday show. The Saturday shows are the best. I'm planning on, I don't know if I'm going to drink all the time, but if I'm drinking, it's going to be for the Saturday shows. See, I don't know. I'm kind of anti-Second Amendment, because I see what bad it does. You know what I mean? I'd honestly like to live in a country where they don't have the Second Amendment right, because there's just less of it to even have to worry about.
Transaction complete.
All right, there we go. But yeah, there's like so many people with guns. Like, the only reason you have a gun is to protect yourself from everybody else with a gun. And then like the other half of people that have a gun, they have a gun because they're so involved with the drug trade. You know what I mean? So you can't really be a very effective drug dealer without a gun, to some extent. You know what I mean? Somewhere down the line, you're gonna need a gun to be a drug dealer. And then there's so many people that are dealing drugs or doing drugs that you need a gun to protect yourself from all of them. Or you could just move to another country where they don't have as big of a problem with it. Like in Japan, right? Japan, they don't really have any of the problems that we have going on in the U.S. They don't even litter as much as we do. You know what I mean? But in Japan, the population of, what is it? Like, I think it's like 20 million people on the whole island. Of that 20 million people, there's less than 100,000 gun permits. So there's allegedly 100,000 citizens of the 20 million people that have access to a gun. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm pro Bitcoin rather than being pro nuclear fallout. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the people that are back in the gold market, that's what they're planning on. You know what I mean? If we were to nuke each other, that's the only way where like a gold-based economy would make sense. It wouldn't make sense to go backward at this point. but it didn't work. That's why we created the fiat system that we're in now, you know. But the people that are voting on gold, I feel like to some extent they're voting on world economic collapse. You know what I mean? I don't know. Put this flashlight on now. But anyway, I'm heading up and I'm gonna go find a spot next to the patch of woods. Go to sleep for the night. I'm still gonna live stream for a couple more minutes, you know what I mean? I'm not cutting it out early. Everybody is brainwashed. They want to become an American so they can tax your paycheck. Yeah, I know, man. It's like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, I'll try to, I don't know. I lose people when I start to talk about this. But the country that I grew up in was just as much a communism as it was a democracy. From my scope, from where I'm at, where I'm sitting and everything, you know what I mean? Like it's a communism where we have a right to vote for who's in control. You know what I mean? Like if you step out of line, or you know, like you're not working a 40-hour week, they want to make you feel like you're a dog, you're a piece of shit, you know, like, but really we're in a free economy. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand why there's not more people that are just like, okay, fuck this, dude. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you still have to work, you gotta pay your way, you can't just be a parasite on the planet, you know what I mean? I understand that logic, but like I'm saying, it's like we're all working a 40-hour week because everybody else is, you know, so you gotta keep the pace of everybody else, but and then at the same time, nobody wants to work a fucking 40-hour week. It's not a laziness thing, it's a them trying to use us as much as they possibly can thing, you know? But yeah, we're supposed to be happy with our 2 days off a week where we can just have enough time to fucking barely reset and go back and do another 5-day march for them, you know? And it's like, really, I think at this point, with the amount of technology and stuff that's in place, the amount of computers that we have counting everything and recounting everything, we're not really relying on human interface as far as inventory is concerned anymore. You know what I mean? There should be a lot of the loose ends that were, you know, in the 50s and 60s stuff where they just like let a remainder, you know, they would only divide out so far, and then they would let the remainder, you know, where does that remainder go? It goes into the pockets of the CEOs. But now we got all this technology in place, so I don't understand why we can't take a third day off every week. You know what I mean? Because there's a certain level of productivity that we're meeting and matching and exceeding, where I think we deserve, like everybody worldwide, not just USA, you know, not just America. I think worldwide we deserve a third day off every week in it. But I'm seen as like some kind of, you know, like I'm an infidel for you know, supporting a 32-hour week instead of a 40-hour week. You know, and I'm not saying that you can't work 40 hours. I just think at 32 hours and 1 minute, that's when overtime should start. So that way, when you are working a 40-hour week, you actually feel like you're making some money to do it. You know what I mean? You know, because you're fucking on a 40-hour week, if you're actually making 8 hours of overtime, that wouldn't be bad. You know, fuck, I'd work a 40-hour week in that picture. You know, but it's not the case. They just want to use us. They just, I don't know, they got it so far deep and delved in their mind that like human life is a resource that they should be extracting from. You know what I mean? I don't know why they've gotten that mindset, but it just, I don't know. It's killing us. You know, send us working so hard that you're sending yourself to the doctor more often. You know, and then, you know, so I don't know. But yeah, you're like, you know, we're overworking ourselves to send ourselves to the doctor, so that way the doctor makes some of our paycheck as well. You know, we're already not making enough money. That's part of the reason that we need to go to the doctor. It's like, but then we gotta give the doctor 20% of what we're making now too. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, yeah, we went from slavery to wagery. You know, like they put the whips away at least, and they're giving us tickets for working. You know, but that's all it really is. It's like tickets, and it, you know, it costs you 5 tickets to get a sandwich. You know, and it's kind of weird how a lot of places they got lunch. Lunch is priced at an hour of labor. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. At least for me, with my income scale, like if I want to buy lunch, it's going to cost me an hour of labor to get lunch for that day. You know what I mean? Because it's about $14-15 to get lunch. But yeah, pretty much that's where I'm heading now. I'm heading off a grid, going back here in the back of this neighborhood where they haven't built houses yet. I'm planning on buying land out here. Yeah, just camping on the land. You know, just fucking. Why do I need to buy a whole house? You know what I mean? I feel like I got my Disney goggles on, and I'm thinking, you know, like, oh, let's do this, yeah, let's buy this 3-bedroom house and pay for it for 30 years, and so hopefully I can have a kid, you know. Anyway, yeah, technology is supposed to make our lives easier. That's what I'm saying. There's so much more technology that's in place today. We ought to be able to take it. You know, Mondays ought to be optional at this point. You ought to, you know, the working, you know, start with the business level, give them, you know, and then it would all kind of fall downhill from there. You know what I mean? Mondays are optional, so that way Mondays could be a second Sunday every week. Monday could be a second Sunday, and you know, on the weeks where it is a 3-day weekend, like Labor Day, Memorial Day, you know what I mean, or you know, say Christmas lines up at the right point where you get a 3-day weekend from that. 3-day weekends are awesome as shit. Imagine getting 52 3-day weekends every, you know, 52 3-day weeks all year. You know, because technology's increased to the point where we can do that. You know, we can still make ends meet, and we can still meet our productivity goals. You know, the businesses will still be making money. The government can still print their own money while taxing us. You know what I mean? And we just have an extra day off to enjoy our freedom. You know, do whatever the fuck else we want with our life, because it's our life in the first place. You know, why does it matter how much my life is worth to the fucking Walmart? You know, it shouldn't. Sorry, I'm using the bathroom real quick. But yeah, man, but yeah, Itchy, as you get to know me more, you'll probably like me more and more. You know, it feels like you're already catching my vibe. You know what I mean? But I got, like, I don't know, I got a really weird philosophy on God and the creation, you know, and everything. Like, yeah, I know they're not, but I mean, but at the same time, how much, if I'm not doing anything, if I'm not doing anything illegal, so the cops show up and they just see my car parked on my own private land. If I'm not even sleeping at the moment, there's nothing to worry about, right? Because that's the only thing they even could do is be like, oh, well, you're sleeping in your back, you know, you're car camping, you know, then so therefore you're camping, you know. But if I'm still sitting in the driver's seat, the cops show up, I'm literally just parked. I'm in my car, parked on my own private property. You know what I mean? There's only so far they can go with that. I seen them in the same county with another couple. Like, you know, the couple were just parked in front of they're building a house. They have a little barn dominium. They're gonna convert the barn into a house, and they're parked in front of their, you know, on their property, and the cops show up because they see an old Honda, you know, an early 2000s Honda with tinted windows. So the cops show up to give them shit. And, you know, granted, it could have went better on both angles. The cop could have been a little more professional, and the guy inside the car could have treated the cop with way more respect than he was giving him. because it's a it's a guy in uniform trying to do his job. That's the way I would act, right? So it's granted, yeah, the guy immediately starts bum rushing the cop, like, you're on my property. You need to get the fuck off, sir. You need to leave. You need to leave. This is my private property. Rather than just, telling the cop, like, hey, this is, we actually live here. Like, here you can check out, here I'll give you whatever website you need to, like I can show you that I'm making payments on this property. This is my property. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Nice to meet you, Itchy. I get it, man. You got other shit to do. I'm just hanging out till I fall asleep, trying to get some more subscribers. I'm close to the 500 mark, and once I make it to 500, it's in my head it's a little bit more than just halfway to 1,000, because it should be kind of like a snowball effect, like you're making a snowball and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? As it gets bigger, it picks up things faster. I don't know. But yeah, man. If you're ever watching again, feel free to chime in the chat, man. I'll try to answer your questions. I'll let you know how I'm doing. But yeah, I feel like I've got a good channel. If you want to tune in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, you don't even have to watch. Just like check in every year, see how much further I've made it each year. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's the other side I'm thinking about it too, where it might just be a waste of money. I might be buying land and then I'm stuck with this land that it's going to be hard for me to resell. You know what I mean? I'll be stuck with this investment on this land that I can't even fucking live on because they'll want me to do some shit with it. Yeah. And that's true too, man. Like either way I'm renting, but at least if I'm renting on ownership, there's at least the opportunity where I can sell back out later. You know what I mean? And join the rest of the circus and rip off the next generation when they pay me for, they pay me with 30 years of their life for just keep pushing the shit downhill. But yeah. Appreciate you hanging out, man. Yeah, and like the majority of people that aren't cops, man, they don't like the cops, man. They're people that they're supposed to uphold the law, but they don't even really know the fucking law. But yep. I think that's it, man. I'm calling it a night. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Oh, I got a viewer. I'll stay. Might as well hang out for another couple minutes then. But anyway, man, pretty good day today. I don't know. Feel like I definitely made at least one new subscriber. The guy Itchy, pretty cool guy. I believe in the flat Earth. I'm a flat earther. All right.